Hello, everybody. This is Joel over at SalesNexus. We wanted to let everybody know about Zapier. Hopefully, everybody's having a great day today. It's a beautiful Thursday here in Houston, and hopefully, it's just as beautiful wherever you guys are at. So we just recently released a connection or an integration that we have with a third party called Zapier. So this session is going to be all about Zapier, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples and things like that. So, just to help you guys get integrated and get you guys integrated really fast and really easily. So let's just move on here, right? So most of you people probably already know me. My goofy smile, Joel, there I am, and my contact information. And so just in case you guys need to reach out to me, there it is. Maybe take a screenshot or something, or whatever you feel is necessary there. So our agenda, very simple. Hopefully we won't take a whole lot of you guys' day or time, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you, or really describe and show you what Zapier is, right? I mean, it's a really awesome platform. If you're not familiar with it yet, you're going to be really familiar after this session. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a Zap. And I've got two different examples I want to show you guys. One of them is just going to be something really kind of cool that you can do with Google Sheets. And then the other one's going to be FullContact. It's going to be like how to scan business cards into SalesNexus. Now, these are just going to be two examples, and I want you guys to be thinking about and keeping this in mind, that there is more than 1,500 other apps on Zapier that you can connect to SalesNexus. So just keep that in mind as you're going through and watching me do this stuff, because the same principles that I'm going to show you apply for any of the other apps that you might think about. Then we're going to wrap things up, right? We're going to start talking about the whole reason why you're here at this session is because two reasons, right? One, you want to get integrated. Two, you want to win a prize, right? We have a contest going on right now, and I'll tell you all about it as we get to the end of this session. And then finally, as we're going through here at any time, if you have any questions, there's a questions box on the right-hand side of your, if you're in the browser or wherever you're at, and it's a little question section. So feel free at any time just to type in your questions. And as we go through here, I'll pause briefly here and there to just kind of look and see if there's any questions. And then at the end, I'll also review it and see if there's any questions we can answer. All right, so let's get things moving here. So the first thing is, what is Zapier, right? So I kind of told you a little bit about what it is, right? So Zapier is a platform that allows you to connect to two different apps together using those two apps' APIs. And so what happens is these companies, they go to Zapier and they say, okay, I've got this app and I want to make it accessible to Zapier users and any of the other apps that are on Zapier. So these companies take their API and they expose the different areas of the API so you can connect them together. So an example would be, you take a Google Sheet, for example, and you say, I want to, anytime somebody adds a new row, I want to have a new contact added to SalesNexus. Or maybe I want to have a new activity added to SalesNexus. So what you're doing is you're choosing a trigger app, which would be the Google Sheet, and then you're choosing an action app, which would be SalesNexus, and then you're saying, okay, when this happens in my trigger app, I want this to happen in SalesNexus. And so currently, right now, what you can do with SalesNexus as the action app is you can add things like contacts, notes, or sales opportunities. Now, that makes this super powerful because, oh, and I forgot, activities is one of those things, right? So what you can do with this, right, is think about sales opportunities for just a moment. Say you've got QuickBooks as your accounting software. QuickBooks Online is a app that is available in Zapier for you to connect to SalesNexus. So say somebody pays their invoice in QuickBooks and you want to see a closed sales opportunity in SalesNexus. You can do that with Zapier very simply. So using the same techniques I'm going to show you, you'll be able to do that. And it's really endless. So you pick a trigger app and you pick SalesNexus as the action, and you can make it do some really, really cool things. So a little bit about the actual contest before we actually go in and I show you around Zapier, right? So the contest itself that we're running right now is we want you guys to create a Zap. We want you to think about what it is that you're using today. So let's say you're using 3 or 4 different apps, right? And you want to just kind of condense things so that other people on your team don't have to have logins to all these other apps. They can just log into SalesNexus and look at the information. So as long as those apps are on Zapier, in less than 5 minutes, you can connect the 2 apps together and make them do some really crazy and wonderful things. So, you know, if you come up with a Zap that's pretty unique, like let's say maybe you've got, you know, a different VoIP system than RingCentral, and you figured out a way to connect those 2 together, and you say, hey, here's my Zap, this is what it does. You submit it to us. You get a chance at $250. You're going to be entered in a drawing to win $250, right? And this drawing is going to be held on August 30th at the end of this month. So you got a little bit of time to do it. And when you see how quick and easy it is to do this, you're going to realize, man, I'm going to have to figure out how I can, you know, put something together real quick, you know. So, and then the other thing is, just by making a Zap, we're going to give you a $100 credit on your SalesNexus account. So that means, you know, you're basically getting a discount on your renewal of your SalesNexus subscription. So really awesome, really cool contest, in addition to being able to integrate really, really easily. And this is some more details, but I'm going to come back to that. First, I want to take us in and let's make a Zap, right? So, oops, not thank you yet. All right, so first thing that you have to do is, you know, obviously have your SalesNexus account, right? And you're going to want to set up a Zapier account, right? So you're going to come over here to Zapier, zapier.com, and you'll register for an account. So let me go straight to the main part of their site, right? So zapier.com. And once you get there, and I'm actually logged in, so let me log out and I'll kind of show you what I mean here. So, you know, you've got a few options here on this page. And so what you're going to want to do is up here at the top, you're going to want to hit this orange button that says sign up. And this is a free platform. You don't have to pay for it. Now, I will mention this, that there are some apps, and I'll kind of point those out as we're going through this. There are some apps that are what Zapier considers premium apps. And so when you want to connect to one of those premium apps, so let's say, for example, one of your premium apps is Zendesk. Let's say you got Zendesk at your office and you're using it to manage your support like we do here at SalesNexus, and you want to connect the 2. You want to have a new ticket that's entered into Zendesk come over into SalesNexus as a task for the person who's taking care of it, so you can see on your team what's going on, right? So Zendesk is what Zapier considers a premium app. So in order to connect with a premium app, so let's say that's Zendesk, right? So we choose that. So you'll be able to, you can do a free one, right? You can say, I want to see how it works. So you can create a free one and it'll let you use it for, I think it's about 14 days or something. And then if you want to continue using the premium app, the Zendesk API premium app, then you would have to, you know, enter into one of their subscription plans, which pretty inexpensive. But for the sake of this conversation, you know, you don't need to pay for any subscriptions with Zapier. It's free. So like, for example, I want to connect with a Google Sheet, right? So we're going to pick this Google Sheets, and then let's see here. Let me pull open also my my sheet that I've created for this, so we can look at what I'm talking about here. So there we are, and I've got this really simple spreadsheet. I didn't really title it or anything, but what I did is I created some columns here, and I've got some fields that I've added in here. And right now I have no information in here, but I'm just going to call this, you know, my contact list, you know. So maybe you've got something similar that maybe a while back you created something in Excel or Google Sheets, and it's up there on your Google Drive, and you've been wondering, you know, or thinking about maybe adding it to SalesNexus, or, you know, doing something with it. And so, you know, it's what I'm about to show you is really great for that. So anyway, I got my blank sheet right here. So I'm going to come over here back over here to Zapier, and I never know how to pronounce it. If it's Zapier, Zapier, you know, however. I like to sound like a Frenchman when I say it. But anyway, so here we are. I'm picking Google Sheets, right? And then I'm going to, over here in this, and actually, let me tell you how I got here, right? Make a Zap. So we're going to click that, make a Zap. So you sign in, and you click Make a Zap. Because if you don't click that, if you don't click on this Make a Zap, you can't start a Zap, right? So we'll back up for a second. I showed you our spreadsheet. Now it's time to connect. We want to make our Zap. So make a Zap right here. So we click on that. And the first thing it's going to do is take you kind of into this wizard, right, where you can create your Zap, your first Zap. And the first thing is you're picking your trigger app. So here it is. It's got a little lightning bolt that says when this happens. So we need to find that app, right? In this case, we're doing Google Sheets. So I'm going to select that. And then now I get to choose the event that I want the Zap to watch for on my sheet, right? So there's a lot of different options that are connected here with the Google Sheet. So you can kind of scroll through and see those different actions, right? So some of the cool things are, you know, you could have separate spreadsheets for something, and you want to have something happen. You know, so there's a lot of different things, right, that I can do. But the thing I want to do for this, for the sake of this exercise, is I'm just going to do when a new or updated row, right? So somebody adds a row or they update a row. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to click continue. And then it's going to ask me to sign into my Google Sheets account, which is basically my Google Drive account, right? So I am going to select this little drop down right here. And I've already connected my Google account. So I'm just going to select it right there. Okay, and if I hadn't already done that, you just do this add account right here, and it'll have you authorize that app. Google will authorize Zapier to touch that that app. So now I'm gonna hit continue, and now I'm gonna customize. You know, what is it that I'm looking for, right? So first thing is I got to find the spreadsheet. Well, since I've given Zapier connection to my drive, I can easily do that. I just click this down arrow. It's going to give me a list of the sheets that I have there, and you can see I've only got one. It's called Contact List, right? So I'm going to select that one. If I had more, it would just give me the list of all the different sheets, the Google Sheets that I have. Also, I need to pick which worksheet in that spreadsheet. So there's no sheets in there other than the first one, so I'm just going to pick that one. And now I have to pick a column that I want to trigger this on. So it's going to watch one of the columns in my sheet, and it's going to say if that changes, I want to update or send a trigger, right? Or send an action. So here I can leave it as any column, or I can actually just let it query and pull in a specific field, right? I can, you know, say just basically one of these specific fields. But for now, I'm going to leave it as any, just so that we can have a wider girth when we're playing with this. Now I'm going to hit continue, and it'll let me test my connection to the sheet. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to try and find a row in my sheet. I don't have any rows right now, so it's going to find a blank. There's going to be nothing there. When I do have a row there, if I do test connection, it's going to bring back that row so that I can see that there's actually data there. So anyway, this test is probably going to fail because there's no data there. So I'm just going to do skip. So now I pick my action app, right? So before I can pick SalesNexus as an action app, I need to join the SalesNexus Zap, right? So we are going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our SalesNexus account right here. And I am going to open up the little help down here in the bottom corner, that little orange help, right? So I'm going to click on it, and if you haven't clicked on it, like I clicked on it a little while ago, but if you haven't clicked on it, it'll say chat. So go ahead and click on that, and then you're going to type in Zapier up here into the top in the search right below help, and just hit enter. And you'll see right there the first option that shows up, the first result is going to say SalesNexus Zapier invitation. So click on that, and you'll see there's a little article here, and it tells you about getting your invite to the Zapier platform, our Zap on the platform. And so you'll click on this SalesNexus Zapier invitation. And once you click on that, you're going to have a screen that looks like this show up, and you'll just click this accept invite and build a Zap. I've already accepted the invite, so the next step is, after you've accepted it and you're building your Zap, you're going to search for that action, for the action app, which is SalesNexus. So I'm going to start typing it in. And you can see right here, it says by invite, right? And I've already accepted the invite, so I see it here. So it showed up. So I'm going to click on it. And now it's time to start choosing what I want to have happen when I have a new row or an updated row in my spreadsheet. So from this from this second drop down, you're going to choose the action, right? So right now we can do things like create a note, update a contact, create an opportunity, or create an activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this one, update contact, because there's a little secret about this particular action that is really powerful. It can either update an existing contact, or if the contact does not exist, it can create it. Now, in order to get that create the contact, if it doesn't exist, set up, you'll have to reach out to us, because there are some things that we turn on in the database for you to make that happen. But I've already done that for mine, so we can show you some of the cool stuff you can do with this update action here. So the next step is we're going to sign in to SalesNexus. So we need to click here, and you'll get a little pop-up, and it's going to ask you to put in the your email address that you use to sign in to SalesNexus, and that's what I'm doing right now in this other little window that opened up. And once you signed in, yeah, and this is pretty interesting. I made this little trial and didn't get my password because I didn't remember about this step. So I'm going to sign in, right? So there we go, got my password, and everybody knows what my free trial password is now, so that's cool. We'll go back over here to the contacts. Okay. And that's a little bit interesting. I don't know, maybe I can't because I've got a trial, and I guess I've hit a little snag here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sign into my other SalesNexus here. We'll sign into the actual one, and that way we'll just be able to continue. So, all right, so there we go. So once you've signed in, once you've done your password, your email address, and you've signed into the Zap, then you'll get to the let me make sure, is this thing going here? Okay, there you go. So once you've got your account, right? So right here it says that I'm signed in, right? Because it's got my little account selected here. So now what I can do is I can hit continue, and it's going to show me all the different fields that I have available to connect to inside of SalesNexus. And this list here, if you're using, this is another caveat to using the update contact versus create contact. If you use create contact, that's just to create a contact. It's not going to update it. It's not going to, change any of the values, anything like that for the contact after it's created. If you use update contact, you can actually tell us, hey, I have this field that I'd like to add to the form in Zapier to be able to update when I add a contact to the system. And so we can add that for you in the back end on the database. But for the sake of this, we're just going to go through and use the default fields here. So I can go in and actually pick all these fields and start mapping them, right? And these, if you notice, these are the fields for my spreadsheet. So there's my company name. I want to do address. So I'm picking address. I don't have address too, so I'm not worried about it. And notice too, these are optional. So I could leave this totally blank, but I'm going to end up with some blank contacts when I start letting this Zap go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in all the information that I do have. Here I'm just going to start mapping them all. And let's go to, do I have state? Yeah, I don't have state in here. That's fine. I'll skip that one. We'll do zip code. And that's the zip. And then for ID status, you can either have that on your sheet, or you can do something like this and say, these are all leads, so I'm just going to say leads. And then, but for now, since I'm playing around with this in our SalesNexus, I'm not going to do that. And then phone number, obviously we're mapping everything to whatever you've got in your sheet. And first and last name, I'm using contact here, so for now I'm just going to put that in first name. I can always go back to my sheet and split them up. I could do something like go back here and say instead of that I want to put first and last name so that it'll actually split them up. But for now, to conserve some time, I'm just going to do it that way. And now we're going to put the email address in there so that it creates contact with that. I can also do a lead source if I've got it. And I don't remember, did I choose that? Okay. All right, so now I've got all my fields mapped, so I'm going to hit continue, right? And now it gives me a, kind of like a preview of what would happen if I actually did a test right now, right? So there's nothing, it's all empty, so there's nothing to send, so I can skip that test for now. So now my Zap's ready, right? So I can hit turn on Zap. And you'll notice up here in this corner, it was off, and now it's on. And it's really simple to turn them on or off. I mean, you just basically click it, it's off, click it, and then it'll be on. So there it is, my Zap is ready. So if we wanted to actually test this thing out, I can do test company. I can say, Joel testing sheet, and then I can say my email is joeltest@gmail.com. Phone numbers 232-789-456, something like that. And actually, I need one more, so let's do that. Do 1, 2, 3 test. We'll do Houston. We'll do 77511. And I don't have MLS number mapped to my sheet, but it can be for sure. I can do that in the database. So I'm just going to leave it blank for now. So now there's two things I can do. I can go back here and I can go to my Zaps and I can say I want to test this, right? So I can go ahead and click on it, and I can come up here and I can say, the test was skipped, but I can click on that, and I can say pull in my samples, and there you go. You see 2 rows, right? So the actual row we're caring about is this B. So I'm going to select that row, right? And so we know that that one actually worked. It actually pulled it in. So now I can come over here and I can test this. And in the real world, once this is all said and done, it's going to actually automatically, because it's going to be watching that, it'll be watching that set of fields. It will send that information over to SalesNexus. So really awesome things that you can do with this. All right, so that's a Google Sheet, right? So now we have it set up where it'll just watch a Google Sheet. Anything new that's been added, it'll get pushed. Anything that has been updated, it'll also get pushed. So let's talk about business cards, right? So you want to take your big stack of business cards from the trade shows and from meeting people and push those to SalesNexus, right? So let's do that, right? So what you're going to need is there's an app that's called FullContact, and actually on Android and iOS it's called Contacts Plus. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a search for Contacts Plus, and actually not in My Apps. You notice here it's trying to search My Apps, so I'm going to go back here, Dashboard, and I'm going to say Contacts. So you see it right here, Contacts Plus. So what you're going to have to do is on your Android or your iOS phone, or even if you just go to their website, and I believe the website is FullContact. So once you find them, you'll sign up for an account with them. Contacts Plus or FullContact, whichever one they're referred to right now, they actually do charge you for their subscription. So just keep that in mind. But once you see the power behind this, it's worth it for sure. So SalesNexus, I'm doing my search for my connection app here. So let me refresh this again, and let's do this one more time. So Contacts Plus, and I'm going to say SalesNexus. Interesting that it's giving me a little bit of fun here. So let's just do this. We're going to go a different route. We're just going to say make a Zap. We'll do Contacts Plus, right? So here we go. Now I need to sign into that Contacts Plus once I've got my account, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, and actually I think I may have, no, I haven't signed into it, so that's fine. It'll probably prompt me here in a minute. But so once I've chosen it, right, I've chosen Contacts Plus, what I'm going to choose is this new contact, because you notice what this trigger says. It says triggers when a contact is created or a business card is transcribed. So whenever you take a business card or add a new contact to the FullContact or Contacts Plus app, you're going to end up getting a trigger to happen. So here you would sign into your Contacts Plus. I don't know, I don't think I can sign into one right now because I don't think I've got a valid account with them right now. But so you'd sign in, right, and then you would refresh the fields that they that they offer for those different actions for that like for example for the transcribed card, right? So then once you have that set up, you signed in, you picked your there's 2 options. They ask you for if you have a team or if you're doing an individual. If you're doing an individual, you just skip the step and then it'll take you to your action, right? So now we're going to come here, we're going to choose our action app, we're going to say SalesNexus, we're going to pick it, right? And then we're going to make sure that we've got the right action chosen here. And again, it can be either create a contact or update a contact, either one, or if there's some other action you want to perform, that's fine. But for now, we're just going to pick create contact because you're scanning a business card. Most likely you're doing that one time. All you need to do is just create that contact. Now, in the off chance that that contact already exists in your system, then that might be a good reason to use update contact. But for now, we'll just choose create contact. Create contact. So there we go. And then I'm going to go continue. And I'm going to pick my account. I've already signed into it, so I can just choose it from the drop down. Then I can click continue here. And again, map all my fields, right? So if I had connected to the actual contact plus, I'd pick, the actual sample data that it shows me. And here it's just kind of giving me like some fake sample data. But you can see here that their field names are a little bit different than what you might be used to in SalesNexus. So for example, company is organization. See that right here? So I would just click on the different things to map them. And for address, I think it's something, say like work street address, so you would pick that. So it really is going to take a little bit of, looking here to find out what things you're mapping to. And then also because they have so many fields in there, you can notice here you can actually search. So I can say city here, and then I can say, okay, it's the work city. So very easily, right, you can make this. And once you're done, you hit continue. Same thing, it'll ask you to test your Zap, and it'll ask you to turn it on and all those kinds of things, right? But since we don't have an actual connection right now to that FullContact, it's not going to let me test it. But anyway, so that is the, how simple it is to set these up. Very, very simple. So you can set up your Zap and really just have anything that is available in Zapier go into SalesNexus. Super simple. All right, cool. So I do see a question here. Let me take a look. It's Eric is asking, will we be able to view this Zapier into SalesNexus webinar later online? Yes, we will make this available after the session. It will send you an email, and it will have the link to this video in there. But we will also be posting this to our YouTube channel after as well. I'm not sure how soon after it'll make it to YouTube, but it'll definitely make it there. All right, so let's go back over here to our presentation, and let's talk a little bit more about the contest, right? I want to give you guys some information about the rules and how's the giveaway going to work and all that kind of stuff, right? So we kind of already went over the steps to get yourself the credit on your SalesNexus account, right? So you go in there, you create your Zap, and you accept the invite. First, you accept your invite to the Zap, our Zap, and then you create your Zap, your actual Zap. It has to be turned on. So once you have your Zap created and it's turned on, then send us an email and say, hey, I just created a Zap, and if you want to be entered into the actual drawing for the $250, you can say, I created a Zap and it does this, and I use these two or this app to connect to SalesNexus. And that way we can go and say, oh yeah, that's cool, that's pretty unique, or yeah, that's a neat idea, we didn't think about that. And so the person that has the best Zap, the most unique or the most interesting Zap, we're going to pick that person, and they're going to win the $250 credit or $250 prize, right? And then so the reward choices, right? You can get an automatic subscription for the price of enterprise. So this is instead of that $100 credit, right? So you can get your choice of like the automatic subscription for the price of enterprise, or a $25 credit on your next billing, or that $100 credit for doing a FullContact integration. So in this slide, just to help you guys understand the slide, it only shows 4 different Zaps or apps there, but any app that is in Zapier connects with SalesNexus and you can just make those connections based on, what things you want it to do, from our available actions, what you want it to do when it's triggered. So, pretty much the sky's the limit there. Now, reach out to us if you do find that there's something you're trying to do that you can't really figure out, which we can help you with that. We can make this thing worked out really well for you. So that's a contest, and that's how it's all laid out, how it's going to work, and that's how you create your Zap. So I'm going to give you guys a few more moments. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to write those into the question box, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to come up with some if you have some. And also, maybe I missed one or two. I'm not sure. Mila, was anybody asking anything that maybe I missed?
Not that I see.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So, does anybody have any questions? I don't see anybody. Nobody's really raising their hand or anything. So, if you have any questions after this, maybe you want to, have some help walking through this again, or maybe you just want to, shoot your idea of what kind of Zap you're thinking about making by us to help you with it. Feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to assist you. So anyway, I'll let everybody get back to their day. I don't want to eat up the rest of your afternoon with me rambling. So have a great one, and look out for this video in your email if you want to review it again. And also, we will be putting it, like I said, on our YouTube, eventually as well. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. We look forward to seeing what kind of Zaps you come up with. Bye.